All right. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome. I'm Alicia McPeak, and I'm a holistic nutrition and wellness coach. And you guys are here because I've invited you to learn more about something that I'm calling the Girls Club. Okay. So I am the purveyor of the Ready, Set, Wellness community, as well as Fit versus Wellness and the Women, Wine, Wealth, and Wellness pages on Facebook. Plus, I also have a YouTube channel just called my name, Alicia McPeak. I'm excited today because I'm launching a longtime dream of mine, which is to celebrate successful women from all walks of life. And my hope is just to celebrate women, elevate and inspire them through the strength and beauty of other women and the things that they've gone through to create the life of their dreams. And today, I'm so excited to celebrate Britney Boyer. Hi, Britney.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Hi, I'm so happy that you're here. So let me just say a little bit about who you are real quick. So
Cool.
Britney, you're a wife, a stay-at-home mom of 3, and you're a health coach. You help educate people on living life with more vibrancy and less toxic load, which is really cool. And I know you've always had a deep passion for helping others bring wellness into their own lives and help them on their wellness journey. And I love your motto: when you know better, you can do better. We all start somewhere. It's never too late to take steps towards better health. I also want you guys to know that she is the successful Facebook and Instagram community leader called Safe Beauty Clean Foodie. It's a beautiful, wonderful, interactive group. And I can tell you from my perspective that she's just absolutely beautiful inside and outside. And her journey has not always been easy, I will tell you, but she's definitely risen from the ashes. And she's here today to share it with us as we celebrate her. Okay, so Britney. So let's start, Britney, with where you are today. What's your life like today?
Okay, so today it's very busy. I feel like I'm the type of person that is very like go with the flow, very spontaneous, but with the life that I have now, I have to be like a little bit scheduled and a little bit anal, so that can be hard for me at times. But I try to get up early and like do all the things that I need to do. So like the group posts go out in the morning. Anything posting goes out super early. And then I actually have like a screen lock on my phone from like 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. So like the whole day I'm just more productive and I'm with my kids and I'm present. So I really am only trying to do my interaction and my posting like early in the morning and then after my kids go to bed. So I also try to do like all my chores before I even take my kid to school, and we leave at 8 a.m. So I like pop the laundry in, I do the floors, I try to do all the things. And I know a lot of people, say like, oh, just leave it. I'm not that person. Like if I have stinky dishes in the sink and crap everywhere, like I'm going to be stressed out. So I like to just get it done. And then, I take my oldest to school. He's 8. I homeschool my first grader, which has been so fun. There's definitely like hard days, but it is so rewarding. And we just get to like do life together, which is so cool. I also have a 3-year-old. She's in preschool a couple days a week. So those are actually the days that we get homeschool done when she's gone. And then, yeah, like my kids have like activities. So I feel like I'm always like on the go, like very, very busy, but it's really great.
So you're like every other mom.
Yeah, pretty much. Like
pretty much.
Like everybody else.
Yeah, I love that you take the screen, close the screen. And I am just like you. I have this list of like 5 things I do before I do anything else every day. And it's like dishes, pop some laundry, and make the bed, like that. I love that. I get all that done first, and I just can focus on other things, and I just go knock those out before anything else. I used to homeschool my kiddos as well. And I would get up before them and do that kind of stuff too. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay. Yeah. And you're married?
Yes.
Awesome.
So yeah,
you could share.
Long time.
Yeah. How long have you been married?
8 years, but we met when I was 15. So we met in science class. It's kind of funny, in high school.
Wow. So you've lived in California your whole life?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what I want to start with. I really want to go back now and start with where you came from, because I kind of know where you are today. You're a wellness coach, and we can talk more about that stuff. You've got this great community. You're an entrepreneur. But I want to know kind of where you came from, like what got you there?
Okay, so, well, it's kind of funny, I feel like, because, um, sometimes I meet people now and they're like, oh my gosh, you're like this healthy, vibrant, positive person. And, or if somebody comes to me with like weight issues, they're like, yeah, but you probably wouldn't understand. And I'm like, wait. Like, I've been through it all. Like, I had a really rough childhood. It took me a lot of pain and a lot of struggle and a lot of hard times to like finally see the light. And, my childhood was really, really hard. My dad wasn't very kind to me. And then, my parents got divorced when I was 7, and that was also very hard for me. I felt like as a child, I was like this very like overly aware person. And it's funny because I'm kind of like that now. I'm more of like the quiet person, but I'm like, like analyzing everything. And I've always been that way because I feel like I had to like process everything by myself. And, after they got divorced, it was almost harder for me. My dad, when we would go to his house, it was like very unhealthy. Like he didn't cook for us or anything. And we would have like Taco Bell for dinner, Captain Crunch for breakfast. It was like very unhealthy. And I feel like I was this like big emotional eater, and food just gave me that comfort. And there were times when like, if he wasn't being very kind to us, like there'd be somebody that would swoop us up and take us to ice cream or something, like make it all better. And I slowly developed this like love for food in like a very negative way. And like it made me happy. It made me feel comfortable and secure. And I just kind of overdid it. And so that kind of went on for like a very, very long time. And then even I feel like with my stepfather eventually, he wasn't so kind also. He had a bit of a drinking problem. And so he had like two sides, like, he was really great, but then when he was drinking, he was just like awful, and he drank every day. So I also developed a lot of anxiety because I never knew what I was going to get. And, he was always commenting on my weight, and he just picked on me a lot. And it caused me to feel like so much shame. And I always felt like I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not skinny enough. I'm not pretty enough. So I developed this like obsession. Like if I would be skinny, I would be more loved. And so, I would go on these like crazy diets at a very, very young age. And if I wanted food, like I would hide it under my bed and like in my closet. And, I would be like, I can do this, I could do this, I could do this. And then I would fail, or, I'd start like these programs every Monday. I'd write it out and I'd be like, you can do this, you can do this. And then by the end of the day, like I was like binging out, and I was so young to be doing this. And I had this hate for myself and my body and for food, because food was like so evil. We were in this huge battle. It was making me fat and miserable. And I just kept gorging and gorging and gorging. And then I would get all, all of the, picking on me. And it was just this horrible, horrible cycle for me. And I think I was about 13 years old, and I actually decided I'm going to start starving myself. So that's what I did. And I restricted calories. I mean, I became so obsessed with this. Like if I had a piece of gum, like I would write down, I got to burn off 5 extra calories. And I would try to go an entire day just eating one Boca burger. And it could only have mustard on it because, it's not going to have all these extra calories. And then I would try to exercise for like 2 hours a day. And it was just so unhealthy, but like it was almost my form of like control in my life. And I thought that like maybe I would feel more loved if I was more beautiful, because that was what I was told basically. And so it didn't last very long, probably about a year and a half. And I'll never forget because I went to my grandma's one day, and I think me and my cousin were like going over to like check on her dog or something because she was out of town. And I was 15, and we were gonna have lunch, and she had like this big bowl of pasta in the refrigerator. And I was like, oh, I can't eat that. Like, are you serious? Like, I don't eat carbs. And so I had just like a little bit, and it was so good. Like, I hadn't had food in a year and a half. So I had a little more, and then I had a little more, and I had like 6 bowls of this stuff. And that's where like my binging began. So like I couldn't, after that day, I just couldn't stop. And within a year, I probably gained 50 pounds. I gained a lot of weight. I couldn't stop binging. And then I would do these crazy unhealthy, like the, what was it called? Like the lemonade diet or something, like the cayenne pepper.
Master cleanse.
But I would do it like the unhealthy way, and I would do it for like 3 weeks straight. And then like the day that you get off of it, I would like eat like 35 chocolate chip cookies, you know.
Perfect way to end a fast.
Yeah. I would take like all the diet pills. I did Jenny Craig. I did every diet. And it was just constantly still this like food battle. And so that like went on for a while. And then when I was 17, I decided that I wanted to do hair and makeup. And so I got this job with this lady that was training me with makeup and everything. And here I was again in this kind of like image, you know, profession. And this lady was also not very kind. And she always commented on my weight. And she'd always be like, you know, you got to wear black, or you got to make your face look thinner and all of this. But at the time, like, it was just what I was used to. I always knew, everyone told me, you know, if you would just lose weight, you'd be more beautiful, or you'd be more this or that. And so I just like brushed it aside. But deep down, it was like the most painful thing. I'm sure I cried myself to sleep all the time, you know, with all my obsessions and everything. And then I decided it just wasn't really making me that happy doing that. So I went to cosmetology school, and that is kind of, I wasn't really binging that much at this point, but I was still having these weird like food obsessions. Like I remember there was this place, it was in Santa Monica on the 3rd Street Promenade, and they had these giant chocolate chip cookies, and they came in a 2-pack. And every single day I had to get one. Like, and every day I'd be like, today's the day. You're not gonna get the freaking chocolate chip cookies. And I'd be like, I'm just gonna eat one, and then I'll have the other one tomorrow. No, I would always eat both. I'd always play these games in my head, and I always end up eating both. And you know, they were like ginormous, and there was 2 of them. And then what would happen was that whole thing where then you eat it, then you feel bad about yourself, and then you feel like you suck, and you know you're horrible and worthless and all the things. And so that year was actually very kind of like positive for me. So I had a roommate, and she was kind of like the first seed planter for me. She was like very holistic, and I remember she was like unloading all of her stuff. And I was like, this chick is so weird. Like, she's got some weird stuff. And, you know, I was like, she doesn't have like Colgate toothpaste. Like, she's got all these like tinctures and all these vitamins. And this chick is so weird. But I quickly started to get interested in what she was doing, because she was like everything I wanted to be. Like, she was so vibrant and so healthy. And she would eat like chocolate cake and not stress about it. And I was like, that's so cool. Like, I want to do that. And, you know, I would get sick, and she would give me all these remedies, and I would get better. And I was like, oh my goodness. So she kind of started like teaching me stuff. And the funny thing is, though, I didn't really just go out and start swapping all my products, which is so funny, because now when somebody isn't like swapping everything quickly, I'm like, why wouldn't you? You know all this stuff. And I'm like, but I was there. It took me so long. I think I only swapped out like 20% or something. Like, I didn't really do it. Like, I did a few things, but it was just so overwhelming. You know, you go to the store and there's like 700 bottles of, you know, lotion. You're like, I don't know how to read a label, you know? So that was kind of hard, but she was basically like the first little seed planter. And then I ended up working in a salon, and I noticed really quickly that I really enjoyed like speaking to the clients and like helping them with their problems. And I didn't even really care about doing hair at that point. I was just like, I just want to like us to help each other. It was kind of like therapy sessions, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just really, I loved that. And I ended up quitting my job eventually because I was slowly learning about chemicals, and we were doing a lot of the like Brazilian blowouts.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, when you do those, like the fumes like just come up. And I had got pregnant with my first child, and I was looking into it, and I saw that, you know, it was like formaldehyde and all of these things. And it says like, do not inhale if pregnant and all this stuff. And I like went to my boss, and he's like, oh, you're fine. And me and him had all these like arguments about it. And I was like, yeah, but it says no, like not okay if you're pregnant. And so one day it was raining, and like all the windows were shut, and there was all these going on, and I just like walked out, and I never went back. I was like, I'm done. Like, if you can't, I'm not doing this. So
that was the first time you remember taking a big stand for your health?
Yeah, you know, and it's funny you say that, because I've always been the type of person, especially years ago, where I was just kind of like a yes man. I always did what I was told. I always want to make everybody else happy and never stood up for myself. So that was probably, I would say, maybe the first time that I just was like, F you, like, you know what I mean? You know, there was another salon, I'm going to go to that one, but he just always was battling me on this. So I was like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. And then, you know, I think what made me really start swapping most of my products was probably when my stepfather got cancer. So I know it's a horrible way to kind of swap all your products, and it happens all the time. I see it all the time where somebody's like, oh, I'll get to it when I get to it. But then, you know, if they get disease or illness, or somebody they know gets disease or illness, then they're all in. But it's like, don't wait for that to happen. So that's kind of what happened to me. Is he, you know, got cancer, and I kind of panicked. And I remember being like, oh, there's so many foods, you know, that are good for cancer. I'm going to bring them to you right now. And, you know, I kind of got this horrible obsession with products at that point, because I really panicked. And so I stopped using everything. Like, I wouldn't even wash my face. I wouldn't dye my hair. I didn't use cleaners. Like, I just used water for everything, because I was like so afraid of like all of these chemicals. And I really wasn't knowledgeable about reading labels, and they confused me anyways. And I didn't have Facebook groups, or I didn't know, you know, how to really find out this information. So that went on for like a year. Like, I just researched like crazy, and then I like had panic attacks, and I would feel overwhelmed. And then I'd come home, and I'd be like, Kyle, we have to get rid of this and this and this and this, and you have to move this here, and we're gonna die. It was just so awful. So at that point, you know, I feel like I didn't feel well. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna start seeing some doctors. I was having some breathing issues. I was having you know, like migraines and fatigue, and I had stomach issues. Like, when I ate, I just, like, my stomach was killing me. I was nauseous all the time. And I started out seeing just like regular MD doctors, and they were not helping me. So I know there's probably so many amazing MD doctors out there. I just did not see one personally. They were just constantly like, you know, you're a mom, you know, we can give you like anxiety or depression medication, or, you know, they weren't asking me what I was eating or anything. And here I was, you know, slathering toxic products on my body. I was eating 100% processed foods. I had a whole bunch of trauma and bad stuff built up in my body. probably not the best mindset, like so much stuff. So, you know, I didn't really, then nobody ever asked me about anything. So I saw about 4 MD doctors, and what they would do, they just, you know, give me the blood test and be like, oh, your blood's like fine, so I don't know what to tell you. So I decided I'm just going to go the natural route. So I saw so many natural doctors. I just wanted to try them all. I saw like homeopathic doctors, Chinese herbalists. I saw acupuncturists, functional medicine doctors, not like everything. And I fell in love with these people. I was like, this is like the coolest thing ever. And they would talk to me about how the body works and how, you know, your sleep and hydration and how certain foods nourish you. And I got so into it. I was like, this is amazing. Like, I could eat this food and it's gonna like heal my body and in so many ways. Like, I just thought that was like the coolest thing. And so I basically stuck with this one doctor for many, 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 many years. I just loved her. And it got to a point where like I would go see her and I would just like have a list of like, I'm like, what kind of shampoo do you use? What kind of toothpaste do you use? Because I was like, I want to do everything you're doing. And so she was super cool. And she's actually the first doctor that thought me having implants was contributing to my health problems. And she told me a story about one of her patients that was incredibly ill and her implants were moldy when she got them out. And I just remember being like, oh my gosh, like, are you serious? That is like so crazy. I ended up seeing like a local surgeon right after that because I was like freaking out, and he made me feel horrible. He was like, no, like you're going to have to get a new set. Like, you're going to be deflated and hideous if you don't. So I was like, oh my gosh. And then
we did it in the first place so that we wouldn't feel bad about ourselves. The last thing we want to do is take them out and make ourselves feel really bad about ourselves.
Exactly. So yeah, and that's the other thing is like the whole with my implants and everything. I got them when I was 19, and I think at that point in time I was at a place where I was so insecure. Like, I just wanted to feel beautiful and loved, and I probably wanted attention. And I remember when I went to get them, I brought a photo of like what I wanted to look like, and the surgeon was even like, no, these are too big for you. And I was like, no. He's like, you're gonna get the wrong kind of attention. And I'm like, that's what I want. Like, that's really what I was seeking, you know, like I was not getting healthy, kind attention from men in my life. So that's kind of, you know, where I got them in the first place. But, you know, she kind of planted that seed in my head of like, maybe, you know, I need to get these out. And at that point, when she told me that, I was already ready. I already knew I didn't want a foreign body in my body. I didn't want, you know, anything in my body that wasn't natural. So I was kind of on board, but I did get pregnant with my 3rd child. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm totally going to have to put this aside. And then, so that's pretty much like most of the story. I did start going to school after my daughter was born. I was like, you know, I really love helping people. And at that point, I had been a stay-at-home mom for probably 5 years. And I just felt I don't want to say like lonely, but there's just this feeling of like, when you don't have like other adults to talk to or friends, or, I mean, I had a couple of friends, but I just felt like I needed just something that was mine. So I was like, you know, I'm just going to go to school and learn so that I can like help other people. And because at that point I had, you know, friends and family always calling me, like asking me, what do I do for this? Or what do I do for that? So I was like, I'm just going to like go to school to do something, you know, that will bring me joy. So I ended up going to school for a few years doing just different classes. So it was like super awesome.
Cool. Okay. So let me back up a little bit, because back to your binging cycles. You know, I think there's a lot of people who can relate to the shame and guilt cycle that probably was already there, but definitely exacerbates and it really, like, it feeds itself at that point, you know, like you said, like there's you do it and then there's shame and guilt, so you do it more and it's really hard to break that cycle. What
Yeah.
was, do you remember one thing or one time that you said, okay, I'm changing something?
You know, I've been asked that question, and it's funny because I don't think there was ever like one thing. I just remember, you know, as far as like my binging and like I would, you know, obviously hide food. That went on for like a few years, but then I think really when I was working in the salon is when I noticed like a huge shift. I think it was, you know, when I was in school, there was also a shift because see, not living with people that are putting you down all the time is going to help a lot. That was so helpful. And then I didn't hide food because I didn't have anyone to hide it from.
Right.
So living on my own was so helpful. I did stress eat a lot only because I was working 40 hours a week and going to school 40 hours a week. I was very stressed.
Oh.
But then I think when I was working in the salon, like I would pack a lunch every day, and I thought it was healthy. You know, I was trying to do good for my body. Like I was packing like sandwiches and I was there all day. So I only had like that one lunch and I didn't go home and, you know, binge out or anything. So I really started noticing when I was with the clients all day because I was happy, you know, I was talking to them, I was making them feel good and they were making me feel good. And I think that's really when I noticed like a shift. And then especially when I got pregnant, I mean, I remember I bought all these books and I think that was like a huge thing for me because now it wasn't just about myself. It was about, you know, this other being that was in my body. And for once in my life, like I was like, I'm going to do everything in my power to like nourish this being that's growing in my body. And some of the books that I bought, you know, were talking about some of the foods that would be good at that, you know, week or whatever. And I was like, oh, that's so interesting, or that's super cool, you know. So I think that's where I saw like a lot of the shift happening.
Yeah. A lot of people ask me that too. And there is no moment in time. Like there's a moment in time, I think that it happens, but I don't think there's a moment in time. I think it's a lot of little moments along the way and you make little slight changes. And then before you know it, everything's changed.
Yeah.
But I also did the same thing with when I was pregnant with my first child. That's when I started getting introduced to that kind of information, healthier information. So, and then you became one of the weird people, like your roommate, which is
totally. It's so funny, right? I love that because like now I feel like I'm that person. I'm sure you feel like that person.
You definitely are. Yeah, that's cool. The other thing you mentioned was that when your stepdad got cancer, like that motivated you to change a lot too.
Yeah.
People are usually motivated by one of two things, which is something horrible happens or something bad, right? Or by inspiration. So it's either like pain or inspiration. And in your case, there was definitely a big change during some trauma and pain.
Yeah.
That actually, you know, but you could go negative. A lot of people do. And you and I both have done negative behaviors in the past as well. But this is one of those times that you just started to seek more and more about what you could do better for yourself, because I'm sure that was very scary watching somebody go through that.
It was very hard.
I bet it was. So let's see, one extreme to the other. Oh yeah, same thing. You know, that's back to that cycle, right? That binge and shame cycle. It's that, then it's the one extreme to the other cycle. It's crazy.
It's so bad. And I feel like when I look back, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like part of me wishes that I would have like spoke up about it, or I would have told somebody else, or I never even really told my mom. Like I just didn't, I don't know what it was, but I was just like this, like I was telling you before, like I would, you know, buy clothes all the time that were like 3 sizes too small. And I would buy magazines and I would like circle pictures of like what I should look like. And it was just this really sad obsession of like, you know, I need to be like this to be loved. I need to be like this to be worthy. I need to be like this to be enough. And it was just so much, you know.
So interesting, but so many people can relate to that, Brittany. So, you know, I did the same kind of things. We also talked about how I live in Texas, which in this regard is not much different than California. It's like blonde hair, tan, skinny. And then you look at those girls and you think, okay, you know, that's what I'm supposed to be like. And if I'm that, I'll be happy. And in this case, also big boobs. Definitely are part of
it. So true. It's so true. Oh my
But you
God.
also, now you're actually a holistic and a holistic wellness coach, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I know you haven't like done a lot with it yet, but you definitely have that knowledge, which is very empowering. Do you feel like somebody has to go to school to be empowered by that, or are there other ways?
No, I don't think so. Sometimes I think some of the classes I took were totally unnecessary. I think for me, I just was more looking for something to do. And I actually, when I was taking my third course, no, actually when I was taking the first course is when I found Crunchi. And it was funny because I was like, oh, I didn't even need to do this class. Like, because I think I was just in search of something else. You know, I was just constantly, you know, I was just the stay-at-home mom, and I just felt
I hear
like
it all
I
the
just
time.
needed something to fuel my soul that was like my passion. And so that's kind of what I did it for. But I don't really think that anybody really needs to go to school. Like, I might not ever even do anything with my health coach certificate.
Right.
And a lot of the stuff that they teach you is just stuff that I've read in books and stuff anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So if you're self-motivated, you can definitely get, and the information is more available now than ever.
Yeah.
So I love this part. I really want to talk about Crunchi because,
Okay.
you know, your passion and love. I hear from moms all the time. Like they love being moms, right? And they want to stay home with their kids, but there's always this thing I like of having something of my own, right? There's
Yeah.
always something. It's something you can get excited about and be passionate about besides your kids and your husband. It's not that you don't love that, but there's something there, I think, that we all hit. And I think, you know, having some success and, you know, just doing something for ourselves. So you found Crunchi, and it falls right in alignment with your belief system of a low toxic load life. So tell us that journey. And let me just back up too, because you're actually an entrepreneur with Crunchi. And I love this whole story because it's not just a great product, it does so much more for you. And so go ahead. What tells the journey to Crunchi?
Okay, so I first saw Crunchi a few years ago. It was on like a Momavation post. And I was like, you know, I'm going to look up all these brands. And I was just curious because that's just like who I am, you know? And so I'm like Googling all these brands, and Crunchi was one of them. And I remember seeing it and being like, oh, makeup, like this is so cool. And at that point in time, this was, let me see, almost 3 years ago, I had been using safe makeup for like 2 years. But maybe like half safe, half toxic actually, because
because this mascara doesn't work that good. So I'm gonna stick with my old one.
Hard. It was so hard because I was used to like all the brands from Sephora. I loved playing with makeup. Like, it was just hard because I would try all these brands and I'd be like, oh my gosh, this is awful. Like, I'm an awful color. Or the powders were just very chalky. It just was awful. So I would wear certain things I found that were like so-so. But then when it came to like, anytime I did something important, like if I was going to like a wedding or like I actually wanted to look good, I'd be like, I need to whip out the toxic stuff. Or sometimes I would even do like with the foundation, because that was like what got me started with Crunchi was foundation. So I had, like 13 bottles of foundation. I know that is so bad, but like I was constantly trying another one. And so I would mix like the toxic and the safe, and it would look a little better. And I felt better because I was like, well, it's not as many chemicals, you know, which is so lame now that I think about it. But so I found them through this post. So I'm like looking at it, and I remember thinking like, this website is so beautiful. That is like the first thing I thought. Like, it is so pretty. And I didn't even know it was a direct sales company at first, because I was like, this website just looks like a website, like a shopping website. And but I just clicked out and I never looked again, because I was like, well, it's probably not good because most of it isn't. And I was tired of spending money. And honestly, if I bought another foundation bottle, my husband was going to kill me. So I was like,
Yeah.
eh. So a few days later, it was very weird. There was some ladies talking about Crunchi on a Facebook group. And I messaged one of them because I was like, oh my gosh, it's really weird. I just looked up this brand like 2 days ago. And I always take things as like signs. And I'm like, that's so weird. And she was telling me that you can like buy samples. So it's like, oh my gosh, I don't have to spend, $45 on foundation. I could just buy the samples. So I bought it, it came, and I was basically stalking my mailman. I was so excited to try. And like the second he brought it, I took off my makeup, I put it on, and I was like, oh my gosh, sold. Like, this is like, I was so happy that I finally found like a safe, high performing foundation. So I was looking at the website and I realized, I saw that it was like direct sales, and there was just like this piece in my mind where I was like, should I just sign up and like get a discount? That I just kept thinking about it. And, I told my husband, he's like, no way, Jose. Like, no, we're not going to be those people. And I was like, yeah, no, I feel ya. Like, I, at that point, was like not really into direct sales. Like, I purchased from a few companies, but I was constantly spammed. Like, I just didn't want to be that person. And so I was like, no, I get it, but I think they're different. And so that's kind of like where it started. So he was like, oh, I'm going to look it up too. And he's like, okay, this seems like cool. And so I messaged this girl and I had like all these questions. And I found out that, they are like a boutique direct sales company, and they're out like trying to be different and like no spam, like no, this is how much money I make, like join my team, like, you know what I mean? Like all of that stuff. And they are like trying to be like classy and professional. And I found out like Amanda Joe, the organic bunny, was selling them. And I really trusted her judgment because she's like super anal with ingredients. So I was like, that's so cool. And I just loved their mission. And I found out that it wasn't just like about makeup, and it was about like educating people on health. And like, they have partnerships with like breast cancer prevention partners, and they're on this mission to teach people about body burden and chemicals. And one of the co-founders, she's like a super into ingredients. Like she's like an ingredient like guru. Mm-hmm. And when she talks about ingredients, I'm just like, I have no idea what she's talking about really. Mm-hmm. But I just thought it was so awesome to be like, if I were to be partnered with this company that was in such an alignment with my beliefs. And it wasn't just even about makeup, it was just overall health. And, they encourage you to have a group. And that's kind of where I started the whole group thing, because you don't have to, but they recommend that you're not like spamming all over your personal page. And they have like all these trainings and everything. So I thought about it and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to sign up for the discount, and maybe I'll tell my mom about it or something. And then I signed up and I got all this makeup because I was like, well, I want to swap everything out anyways. And then I told nobody, which is so funny because it kind of like sunk in, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't tell anybody because they're going to be like judging me. So now I have these like little mind monsters, like, of fear of judgment and all this stuff. And I was like, you know what, this is so lame. So I didn't tell anyone for actually a really long time. Like I didn't tell anybody. And in the, when you're an advocate, there's like a Facebook group community. And I fell in love with this community because it's like all these like-minded women, and it's so positive, and the trainings are just, I fell in love with that. Like I was like, oh my gosh, this is making me a better human. Like being in this community, like this is what I've been longing for. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you know what am I so afraid of? Like fear of what? Like educating people on body burden? That's all it is. I'm not selling anybody makeup. I'm educating them on health. And even you can host like workshops, and they don't even call it parties. So if you host like a workshop online, like they have all the slides and stuff for you, but it's like a workshop, and it's like educating on ingredients, and it's not like buy my products or anything. So everything is just so classy, and I love that. So you know, it took me a while in the beginning because I was just so anti that, but like now I'm just like, this is such a beautiful gift. And I still don't even share about it like that much, but you know, people just like love the Crunchi mission and the products. So I'm really grateful that I found them.
Well, you found that it's so much more, you know.
So
I
much
was the
more.
same way when my friend told me about Juice Plus. I was like, there is no way I'm not walking in a room where everybody's gonna like go, oh my God, don't talk to Alicia. Like I was so afraid of that because I had experienced so much of that, and I
Yeah.
definitely didn't want to be one of those people. I said exactly the same thing. So,
Yeah.
but then, you know, and our company's the same way. So I love that. I really align with that myself, that you guys have that value behind it. That's about
Yeah.
educating people and, you know, adding value and relationship first and all of those kind of things. But also people don't realize, first of all, I believe, and this is why I wanted you to share this story. I believe that this industry, the direct sales industry, is the wave of the future. People are going to be
Yeah.
looking more and more for what we have, because in spite of the fact that people need to make money, they'd love to be free 100%. But this gives you kind of the best of both worlds, because you can make money and still have flexibility in your life. So unfortunately, we still have to have money to live. So until that changes, I just believe this is an answer for us, you know, this kind of a way of living. And it can align with our purpose and our beliefs and who we are. It's just perfect, I think. So thank you for sharing that. I'm really excited. But somebody like you gives legitimacy, just like you said, it Organic Bunny.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she, you know, like she's out there sharing and educating, and you trusted her, and so it helps bring this into the mainstream and show people that most of the companies are now different than the experiences that we used to have. Not all of them, but most of them. There's still some spamming going on, but okay. So let's see. So okay, so I'm gonna ask you a few random questions, and then we'll wrap this up. Okay, so here's the first one. What did you eat for breakfast today?
Well, you know what? I had a bar.
Oh,
just a bar.
Just a bar? Okay.
Just a bar.
Are you hungry?
I know, right? No, sometimes I don't even eat breakfast. You know, I feel like I eat more like the second half of the day. I know some say that's not good, but like I do well when I don't eat a lot in the mornings. I've been eating a lot of like yogurt parfaits lately. It's like me and my daughter's like favorite thing. So we'll get yogurt. I eat coconut yogurt because dairy kind of upsets my stomach. And then we'll have like granola and like berries. So we eat that like almost every day.
Did you ever find, I can't remember if we talked about this, did you ever find out that you actually had something autoimmune going on?
No.
Okay.
I don't know.
But you just stay away from dairy because it bothers your stomach?
It bothers my stomach. So does the gluten even more. I do notice if I eat a lot of dairy, like I will get breakouts. But I love cheese. Like, man, vegan cheese is
not the same. It is not the same. No matter how good it's gotten, it's not the same.
It's hard.
Okay, so you do stay away from gluten because it upsets your stomach? Okay.
Yeah.
I remember, I think we did talk about that. I remember even when I was a kid, I would like bite into an apple and my stomach would start hurting, and I didn't understand what the apple was doing to me. But it wasn't the apple. It was, you know, delayed reactions to probably the gluten that I've been eating.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the next question. Are your kids now, or have they ever been picky eaters?
Yes. So
okay,
they
what do you do about that? Okay.
Well, it's funny because I get this question all the time, and people think that my kids must be, you know, eating kale chips all day, and it's just not the case around here. So my daughter is like, she'll eat anything. She'll try anything. She likes everything. If you give her a piece of chocolate cake and vegetables, she'll just eat both. Like, she's so easy. My boys, no, not the case. Like, my oldest, I will say, so he had a sensory processing disorder. He still has a lot of sensory issues. So for him, it was more, and still is, like a huge issue with scent, texture, all the things. And then my other son is pretty picky too. And so is my husband. So one thing I always tell him is, I was like, you know, we have to be the examples here. And like, if you're saying I'm not eating vegetables, they're saying I don't have to either. So sometimes I get a little, you know, upset with him. But my boys are pretty picky. They do have like those things that they'll eat. Like Caden really loves apples and Connor will eat raspberries. So I feel like I'm constantly giving them to them every day. They will eat smoothies, but they're not huge fans of vegetables. So, you know,
Typical
I do the
problem.
best I can.
I love the post about strategic, what was it? Oh, instead of saying no to completely to something, you strategically placed it. It was part of the meal instead of,
Yeah.
I think that's one of those good little tips. Okay. So you're just like every other mom. You're still dealing with that kind of stuff. It's not
Yeah.
perfect.
No,
Yeah. Okay.
nothing's perfect. Like, no.
I think you're right. I love yeah, everybody, your kids are eating kale chips all day long. You know, no, they're not. I still struggle. Okay. That's awesome. Okay. So if you were starting a healthy lifestyle, what would be the first steps you would take?
So I, actually a couple years ago, I helped my husband lose quite a bit of weight, because he was kind of having, some weight issues, and he was always telling me like, I'm going to start this diet, or he's kind of like one of those people. I mean, and I relate 100%. Like he wants to go like all in, like he'll have like beer all the time and pizza. And then he'll be like, I'm not going to have beer for 30 days. And I'm like, no, just have like less of the stuff. And then, still enjoy what you like. But if you go like 0 on something you love, then in 30 days, you're just going to go back to where you were.
You can drink it all.
Like, come on. So, and he was doing like, I remember the last diet he did was like, I think it was Lindora. I don't know if they have a lot of different programs. I never looked into it, but he came home and he was like, ugh, I can't have breakfast. I have to eat string cheese wrapped in deli meats for lunch. And like, he starts telling me all this. And I'm like, this is the problem. Like, no. And so I said, I'm going to help you. And mind you, he's like the most stubborn human being. So I just told him, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take baby steps. Okay. I want you to do everything you're doing. I want you to eat your ice cream every night. I want you to eat all the junk you want, but you're just going to eat 1 apple a day. That's it. You're going to take that apple to work and you're going to eat it, and you're just going to continue on eating your junk food that you eat. And that's what he did. And I'm telling you, he would come home and he'd be like, I ate it. But he was so proud of himself. And that's what I loved, because if I would have given him this strict program, you can have these are the bad foods, these are the good foods, like he would have been like overwhelmed and been like, I failed because I went to lunch with the guys and like I had to have the pizza and da 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 da. And he was proud of himself because he was accomplishing these baby steps. So then at the time, I don't think he was working out. So then we're like, just work out 1 day a week or take a walk 1 day a week. And then he was just accomplishing all these things. And he was like proud. And so he just kept going. And then like now he works out 3 to 4 days a week. He still eats a lot of junk food, but he eats healthier than he was. Like he used to have like energy drinks, all that kind of stuff. So I would just say that, to take it little by little and to give yourself grace and realize that, progress over perfection, and not to get mad at yourself if you indulge a little, and just to have like that balance, really.
I love that. Most people don't take that approach at all, but you're right on track with that, because once people have success and they gain pride in themselves, well, what happens actually, it's actually dopamine release. You say you're going to eat an apple and you do it. After a short period of time, you actually get a dopamine hit when you eat the apple, because you've done what you said you're going to do. And so it's a huge reward system. So there's a brilliant way to do it. I love that. Okay. So start with baby steps, something doable, accomplish it. And you're going to get the reward. It will be in doing it. It'll happen for you. So that's such a great idea. Okay. So next question, 1 Crunchi product that you can't live without.
Whew. Oh my goodness. That is so hard. I would have to say probably my Namaste lip gloss. I love that. It's just one that's always, I don't wear makeup every day, or even if I barely have anything on, like I just always have that lip gloss in my purse. Like it totally, even if you're not wearing anything and you put that on, it just gives you like this spunk,
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. So everybody's got to get that. Okay. So, and then now just 3 non-toxic products that you can't live without.
Ooh, let's see. I would say, let me think. I really love Skin Foodie. I buy a lot of Skin Foodie products. So their body butters are probably like my favorite thing. And then what else? Maybe dry shampoo. I'm currently just using like the Acure one. What else? I really like the Mad Hippie brand. So I use their vitamin C serum for my face. I really love that. Yeah.
That's 3. Awesome.
Sure.
All right. And the very last question. What would you say is one ingredient for a happy life?
I would say probably maybe just like kindness to yourself and other people. Like, that's what I would say.